Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of this F1 24 driver career mode with myself driving for Kick Sauber in Season 1. If you did miss the last episode around the Miami Grand Prix, wow, what an episode it was. Be sure to check it out before you watch this one, but pretty much Max Verstappen won the sprint race with the two McLarens to follow him. Myself, P10, we made a very good recovery drive after I made a very big mistake in qualifying, which cost me possibly a top 10 starting position. I managed to get myself inside the top 10, but unfortunately it wasn't good enough for points with our teammate, unfortunately, suffering an engine failure. Then, when it gets to the main Grand Prix, once again, I bottled the qualifying. I had the pace to probably get pole position. It was a wet quali, and I had pace in the wet. Unfortunately, just didn't get around to setting my next fast lap in the end, so it was only the one lap I ended up doing. Max Verstappen ended up claiming a 58th career victory in the Grand Prix. Lando Norris finishing P2, and myself, with some really smart driving, got myself up into P3, a podium in a Sauber. Wow. Still can't get my head around it. It was an absolute wicked episode. Our teammate, unfortunately, was down in P15. There was a lot of non-finishers as well. George Russell, Alex Albon, Nico Hulkenberg, and Stroll all DNF'd out of this Grand Prix with multiple incidents. As we now take a look here at our specialist for the power unit consultant, we're going to go for finish better than our teammate Valtteri, which should, at this point in time, be pretty easy. He's only outscored us once, and that was in our debut race in Bahrain. Material fabrication planner, complete 10 laps. Quality assurance tester, 45 seconds in fourth gear, and the strategy analysis, we're going to do only 2 laps. Oh, sorry, a driven lap in only 2 sessions. So should be all pretty easy. Taking a look here on the screen as well, we've got a couple of completed upgrades that are going to be on the car for this weekend. So we're going to have a weight reduction and a internal combustion engine upgrade. And as now we take a look at the R&D here, so McLaren are now the fastest car and they're just ahead of Red Bull. They have a gap to the next 3 teams, which are all very close, and that's Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin. They're all pretty much on the same par with their performance. RB has had a decent performance gap to the next group of teams, so they've brought in a couple of upgrades, and hopefully they're going to be a bit more competitive. Williams, Alpine, and Haas, they're all very close, and they have unfortunately just gapped us a little bit, so we are the slowest car on the grid once again, as now we head into qualifying.
Welcome along everybody to Emilia, just down the road from Ferrari HQ, and they know a thing or two about pace, and pace today is king. It's qualifying day, and it's great to have you with us.
Qualifying around here is a bit more important than some other circuits, as it is tends to be a little bit harder to pass around this circuit. It's now we're ready into Q1. We're coming to the end of our first flying lap, currently sitting P10 as we cross the line to go P7, 3.5 tenths away from George Russell. Coming around to finish our second flying lap, Oscar Piastri goes fastest. We're going to get a nice little tow here from one of the V-carbs as we cross the line, and it is going to put us P11, so we're just outside of the top 10, but remember, we only have to get inside the top 15 here in Q1. We're going to cross the line and try and get another fast lap in. This one will put us to P7 with a purple final sector, so we are cooking around here at the moment. We've fallen down the P12. We're 2 tenths better than our previous lap. And where will this put us? I reckon it's going to be about P11. It is 11th in Q1. George Russell fastest in Q1 by 0.04 of a second ahead of Max Verstappen. Lando Norris P3. He's just over a tenth back. Myself in the end P11, 4 tenths away from being P1. And knocked out in Q1 Nico Hulkenberg by 0.04 of a second. Esteban Ocon, Alex Albon, our teammate Valtteri Bottas, and Logan Sargent failing to make it to Q2. Coming to the end now of our first flying lap here in qualifying 2. Currently sitting P11, and we'll go to P6 at nearly 3 tenths down on George Russell. So a bit of time to find, and a bit of time we do find. We're half a second better than our previous flying lap, and that will put us up into P6, and we're going to try and get one more flying lap in Q2 here. The checkered flag has fallen, but we did manage to start a final lap. It's going to be about a 3/10 improvement. Is this going to put us inside the top 10? We fell into the drop zone. Will we make it to Q3? Yes, we do. We just sneak in, finishing P10 there. Carlos Sainz fastest in Q2 by 3.5 tenths of a second ahead of George Russell, Max Verstappen sitting P3, 4 tenths back. Myself, P10, we made it through by just over a tenth of a second. Unfortunately, knocked down Q2. Pierre Gasly, Sergio Perez, a Red Bull, Kevin Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Yuki Tsunoda failing to make it into this final qualifying session here. Coming to the end of our first flying lap here on a set of scrub tyres, and we go P8, 1.5 tenths away from Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. And you're not going to believe it. I've made the same mistake two race weekends in a row. I haven't made it to the start line to start another lap. So my only lap this session, which will put us P10, was on a set of scrub tyres, and I did not make it to start a lap on a set of new tyres. So Lewis Hamilton will take pole position by 0.003 of a second ahead of Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri P3, he's a tenth and a half back. Myself P10, 0.6 of a second away. We're not too far away from Stroll, so I reckon we could have got ourselves into the P7, P8 mark if I did go and set another lap.
This race has gone by several former names. The Italian Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, and now the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. It's race day. We're at Imola. Welcome. One lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula One circuits, will take our drivers round 3.1 miles of track. 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 to the left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin at turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position. Edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Verstappen, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Sainz, Stroll, Lightning, Gasly, Perez, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Albon, Ricciardo, Sargent, and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me, a man, well, what more can I say? But he's a legend, Anthony Davidson. Now, you'll remember back from your racing days, Ant, working with the team and getting to know them is oh so important. And that's what this driver's going through at the moment. And I think one thing we are seeing with this driver at the moment is that they're very much embedded within the team. They know the team knows them, and it's working wonderfully. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Okay, this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix, which means there's a lot of very important people here behind the scenes. I'd love to give them a strong result to watch today, plus a good result might make my post-race meetings a little bit easier.
And Mark, know what? I will try and do that for you, son. I will try and put on a good show, get us some points, starting in the top 10. So points is definitely what I am aiming for here as we are all set on the grid. We're going from the medium to the hard tyres in this race, and it's lights out. And away we go for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. And it is honestly a pretty terrible start for ourselves. We get done by Pierre Gasly off the start line. He's going to sneak up and actually make a few positions here. Can we try and go around the outside of Stroll here to try and make up a position? We send it deep and have to take avoiding action from Pierre Gasly, who gets kind of caught up there in the mid-pack. As we run wide onto the grass, we have to lift off the throttle to make sure we don't spin, and Sergio Perez will get by us. So we're going to have to sit tight behind Perez at the moment. But generally, the AI tend to get caught up here in a bit of a concertina effect, and they do. And we are going to send a dive bomb on Sergio Perez. He's going to remain side by side with us. He's going to get the better exit there on the racing line and pull ahead of us going up the hill. And we're going to tuck in behind him to settle for P12 off the start of this Grand Prix. Stroll, P10, Gasly, P9. The two Ferraris have maintained their positions, and Lewis Hamilton remains the leader of the Grand Prix. Heading on to lap 3 now. Max Verstappen gets squeezed all the way to the wall by Lando Norris. These two having a real championship fight, but it's going to be Max Verstappen who goes around the outside to claim second place away from Lando Norris, and George Russell also sneaks himself up into P4. Max Verstappen now, he's very quickly caught up to the back of Lewis Hamilton, and he's going to send it around the outside to get himself now into first position. And it's Stroll now looking to try and get himself around Pierre Gasly. He does make that happen, and you can see here now Stroll's actually been able to pull away, but it's Gasly who's kind of the bottleneck here. He's causing a big train of cars. We'll send it down the inside of the second last corner on Sergio Perez, and now we're going to try and use the DRS from Pierre Gasly to see if we can't get ourselves ahead of Gasly sooner rather than later, because you see how much he's losing out to the Aston Martin of Stroll, and Perez, he's even struggling to get by him, so I want to send it down the inside. Gasly moves over. We make a bit of contact in the braking zone, so we give him the squeeze on the exit to make sure he doesn't get back by us, and that is now us up into the points. And we also have been asked to achieve an average lap time. But Mark, I don't know if you've been watching, mate, but we've been battling. We have been battling hard and stuck in a bit of a train. So our lap times, of course, are going to be all over the shot here. As continuing on, we now get overtaken by Sergio Perez. That Red Bull in a straight line with DRS is an absolute rocket. So he's been able to get by us quite easily. Fast forward a couple of laps though, and with the power DRS, we're going to try and see if we can't get ourselves back by him. We've averaged a good lap time here, so Mark is happy enough that our pace is strong enough to continue battling here, and we're going to try and go around the outside, but Perez very smartly closes the door on us, and we're unable to get by, but we're going to give it another attempt here, once again using the DRS to try and aid us in the straight line. This Sauber's not the fastest car, but if we play our cards smartly, we can try and get points here, and we're going to send it around the outside, and that is us back inside the points here in Imola, and the pit window is now open, so it is all games here. We are trying to get ourselves ahead of Stroll. Track position is going to be key here, because on cold tyres, that Aston Martin may just hold us up, and it is going to be around the outside we go of Stroll, as easy as it is, and that is going to be us into P9 now, and the two Ferraris up the road, they're 10 seconds gone, so that's how much Stroll was holding us up there. And there is a yellow flag, actually, and I reckon it's George Russell. It is George Russell. He is pulled off to the side of the road, and that is him out of this Grand Prix. It looks like an engine failure with the amount of smoke coming out of the back of that Mercedes power unit. As now the leaders are in. It's lap 14. We're also trying to be pitting this lap, and the leaders are in. Max Verstappen followed very closely by Lewis Hamilton. So after Max got the lead, he was not able to actually pull away as much as I probably thought he could have. And Max very well sneaks out between those two cars there, but Lewis gets held up by Charles Leclerc coming into his pit stop there. For ourselves, though, our achieve lap time objective that Mark wanted, of course, is going to get voided, because we're going to pull into the pits. We pull in, and we're going to be going onto the hard tyres to continue to the end of the race, and we're going to be coming out in P15. So we'll be sure to make up a few positions here as we do past the pit exit here, and you'll see that we've annihilated our outlap, and we have jumped Sergio Perez and Stroll by a good couple of seconds here, so that was very important for us to get a good pit stop here. And once again, we've got issues with the car. The tyre pressure sensors are absolutely shot, and I'm not sure if you noticed on that last screen there, we also set a purple final sector, so we're finding a lot of good pace here on these hard tyres, and Mark's also wanting us to try and save some ERS, and so that's what we're going to focus on doing, as Charles Leclerc is now trying to go around the outside. Sorry, it's Carlos Sainz going around the outside of his teammate Charles Leclerc. The two Ferraris battling it out in front of us. Oscar Piastri now, he's looking to try and make his way up through the field. His teammate's up in P2, so he's now going to get himself up into P4 on the grass, trying to overtake Fernando Alonso and down the inside into the first chicane here, and that is a very well done move from the Australian. As we do an auto check here after the pit stop sequence, it is going to be Max Verstappen leading the way from Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton, and that is your podium at the moment. Oscar Piastri chasing down Lewis Hamilton in P4, Fernando Alonso, then the two Ferraris of Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, myself sitting in P8 trying to hunt down those two Ferraris if possible, Stroll P9, Sergio Perez P10, he's running out the points at the moment. Then it's the two Alpines of Ocon and Gasly, the two RBs of Tsunoda and Ricciardo. Then it's Alex Albon, our teammate Valtteri Bottas in P16, Nico Hulkenberg, Logan Sargent, and Kevin Magnussen in P19, the last of the runners on the road. back on board with ourselves now. We've been working really hard to try and charge this ERS, and we do manage to get it done with about a lap to spare. So it's been crucial for us to save up this ERS for us to try and now chase down these two Ferraris that seem to be battling it out and causing themselves to lose time. Oscar Piastri now makes his way around Lewis Hamilton around the outside, and that is him up onto the podium as Leclerc gets himself back by Carlos Sainz as well. So the two Ferraris, if they continue the battle like this, we may be able to catch them. There's 10 laps to go as Perez gets himself by Stroll as well for P9. So as they continue to battle, the more these guys battle, you can see that the gap is constantly tumbling. It's currently 7.2 seconds to myself, to Charles Leclerc. Sainz gets himself by his teammate. So if they continue the battle, we could possibly try and catch them. We're going to have to absolutely annihilate these hard tyres and pretty much just put in qualifying lap times. But I've got a feeling it could be possible. So we're going to have to really put our heads down and try and get this one done, as Charles Leclerc is now looking to get himself by his teammate Carlos Sainz as they do continue the battle. Fernando Alonso was there defending from Lewis Hamilton, and this could be a change for the lead here. Lando Norris is going to use the DRS down the main straight, and that is him up into the lead. Norris leads from Max Verstappen, and Oscar Piastri is getting quite close as well. He's just over 2 seconds away. Lewis Hamilton now gets by Fernando Alonso, so he wasn't able to defend that time around. As the two Ferraris continue to battle it out. Last time we checked, the gap was 7 seconds. It's now 5. We've gained 2 seconds on them in the last few laps, so we are definitely gaining on these two as they continue the battle and hold themselves up. And it is going to be Stroll now. He's getting himself by Sergio Perez. So Sergio Perez isn't able to drive away from the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin, remember, is up there inside the top 5 as some of the fastest car, but it is the Red Bull and the McLarens that are well and truly past the Aston Martin. And so now Mark is also wanting us to achieve an average lap time once again, as Alonso does make himself back past Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc is looking to get himself around the outside of his teammate Carlos Sainz as they continue to hold each other up, and the gap's now only 4 seconds from myself to the Ferraris. Perez is back in front of Stroll as well. And could this be another change for the lead? Max Verstappen is looking to get himself by Lando Norris. He's going to have to go around the outside, and Norris is still there and he tries to get the switchback. Max is aware of it and is able to defend from Lando Norris, trying to get that switchback. Hamilton goes around the outside of Fernando Alonso, and the two Ferraris continue to battle each other, and Sainz was unable to get himself by his teammate that time around, as Norris is looking to get himself back into the lead of this Grand Prix with 2 laps to go, and he is going to have to try and go around the outside. Max Verstappen is going to keep his nose there, and they do just get through there without contact. Lando Norris now leads the Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso is looking to get himself back past Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's squeezing him all the way to the grass, but Fernando Alonso, as he once said, always has to leave space. Hamilton just leaves a car width for Alonso to go around the outside, as we, going on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, do pass our average lap time objective. And that this could be crucial if we're able to catch these two Ferraris as they continue to hold each other up. And look at the gap. It's less now than 2 seconds, and we are rapidly catching them as Stroll is able to get himself past Sergio Perez. But it's going to be Lando Norris rounding the final corner, and he's going to claim victory here in Imola for McLaren, with Max Verstappen P2 and Oscar Piastri P3 for a double McLaren podium. And just look at how close we got to the two Ferraris. We just needed a lap or two more of them battling, and we possibly could have got them. We got to within a second of the two Ferraris, but we're going to claim P8 here in Imola for our team Sauber.
Checkered flag, and our winner has landed. It's Lando Norris for victory. Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
And that was a second career victory for Lando Norris here in Imola. Max Verstappen on the podium as well. That was a good battle for the win. And Oscar Piastri, fair enough, he was right there. The top 3 crossed the line at pretty much the same time. As we take a look at the rest of the top 10, it was Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, and Charles Leclerc. Myself just catching up to the back of the Ferraris. Stroll P9 and Sergio Perez P10 in the end, taking that final championship point. Our teammate Valtteri finished P15 in the end, no points for him. And George Russell, the only non-finisher in this Grand Prix. And for the championship standings, Max Verstappen leads the Drivers' Championship by 2 points ahead of Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri sits P3, he's 41 points back. Myself sits P10, 121 points back from the championship lead. And our teammate Valtteri sits P19, he's yet to score a point in this championship. And McLaren, they lead the Constructors' Championship by 43 points over Red Bull Racing. Ferrari sit P3, 140 points back. And Sauber, we find ourselves currently sitting P6, we're 222 points back, as now we take a look here at the driver ratings. So my experience has gone up, racecraft has gone up, my awareness has gone up, my pace has gone up, and my focus has actually gone up to level 75. So we've been making good progress there with an overall of level 81, and our recognition against our teammate remains at 48%, so Valtteri's 52%, so hoping that can change pretty soon. As now we take a look at the specialists, we were able to complete all of our specialists for this Grand Prix. We've nearly maxed out our power unit consultant to level 1, so that is looking promising for maybe getting it to level 1 in the next episode. And if you did enjoy it all, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode where we head to Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix. I'll see you then. See ya.